Pisces, this is your week ahead astrology forecast by Astrology Motivation from Born Without Boundaries. In this video, we'll go over the major planetary aspects and transits and how they impact your natal sun and what that means for your bottom line. All that you need to enjoy this video is your birth date. The more accurate reading, however, will be based on the exact placement of your natal sun in the zodiac sign of Pisces, which you can get from your natal chart. Now, your natal chart is free and very easy to get. You can just search it online, free natal chart, and there's so many websites that pop up. You just make your choice, pick any one of them, and you'll have to put in your birth date, your birth time, and your birth location. And after you put all that stuff in, it'll jam it out in about a couple of seconds. So relax and kick back with me, hang with me. All you need for this video is your birth date. We're going to start off with really the broad stuff, the big stuff that's impacting everybody. And then we're going to focus down into the things that are specifically impacting Pisces and how. And then we're going to break things down into the decans. And a decan is a group of 10 degrees, and every zodiac sign has 3 of them because every zodiac sign has a total of 30 degrees. And by breaking it down into sets of 10, we can really pinpoint exactly what's happening to those natal suns and how they're being impacted by the other planets based on the different angles that they'll make. Not all natal suns will make the same angle, so we have to determine it based on those groups of 10, those decans. Let's start really broad. So we start off with the big stuff. There's a lot that's happening on the 17th of this week. We have a new moon in Gemini, and that new moon in Gemini is square to Neptune. Moon square Neptune is a very illusionary kind of energy. It's very deceptive and maybe even self-deceptive, but it's also very psychic and dreamy. So that combined with the sun being square Neptune, however, is also a hint at there are some things that we have been creating, illusions that self-deceptions. And since this is a new moon in Gemini, there could be information in or things that we learn that really conflict with our self-deceptions. So this is a time for new information. This is a time for new thoughts and new learning. Sun in Gemini is all about that. So new moon in Gemini would be all about that. It just could cause some conflicts with what we've decided we already believe. Now, we also have a semi-square to Venus while this new moon is occurring, which means there could be some conflicts when it comes to finances, any kind of value systems, the things that you were attracted to, or the people that you're attracted to in your romantic relationships. It doesn't mean everything's going to break apart. A semi-square isn't that strong, but it definitely hints toward there's frictions that are going to come out as this new information comes in that challenges what we've how we've deceived ourselves, how we've self-deceived. So this is actually a very productive new moon, and I kind of like it for the reasons of maybe we'll finally get some answers, right? Even if they're not the answers that we like. We also on the 17th have Saturn going into retrograde, which is, it happens about the same time every year, at least since I've been alive. So we have Saturn going into retrograde. Pluto's already in retrograde. Neptune will actually go retrograde in about a week and a half from now. This is common in these months. So in the northern hemisphere, I think we're really, really lucky because we get all these retrogrades that happen during our summer. And our summer is a natural time to sort of kick back and relax. And that's basically what all the retrogrades ask you to do. Kick back, relax, unwind, and let things unfold and learn as they unfold. So Saturn will go into retrograde on the 17th, the same day of that new moon. Also on the 17th, we have a strong conjunction formed between Venus and Mars. Now, some astrologers would argue that this conjunction has been happening all week long. And I wouldn't be able to disagree with them because technically conjunctions can go up to 10 degrees. But I really think a powerful conjunction doesn't happen until the planets are about within 5 degrees of each other. And on the 17th is when this happens. So that's when I'm counting this conjunction actually really starts to have a lot of weight to it. The fact that it has a sort of relationship with the new moon through that semi-square to Venus could just mean there's major impact or major revelations when it comes to what we're attracted to or who we're attracted to, and any kind of sexual interactions as well will be definitely interesting. Let's just say that. We also have this week, all week long, Jupiter sextile to Saturn and Mercury sextile to Venus. This is actually very helpful energy. It's also very hopeful energy. Jupiter sextile Saturn, which directly impacts you, Pisces, because Jupiter is your traditional ruling dignitary. So that's just one of the most progressive, productive energies in astrology. Jupiter sextile Saturn, you can get anything done. You can get anything that you can make anything work out. There's an optimism and positivity with a real solid sense of practicality that will make everything work and be realized and really get done. So this could be a major breakthrough this week, especially for you, and especially aligned with your career or where you see your future or growth, the sense of future self, which I think information coming in on that new moon could really help us out. It may challenge us and irritate us, but it will really help us out. And then we have Mercury sextile to Venus. Mercury sextile to Venus is an extremely a benefic energy. It's an optimistic energy. It is an energy of eloquence, especially when it comes to presenting your thoughts through words, whether it's written or spoken. So there is a sense of really having a mastery and command of things that are said, eloquence in speech. This is really interesting energy. I just like to see how that new moon plays out. Please leave your comments below and let me know how you find it playing out. Let's double down into now specifically what Pisces should be aware of. So always be aware of what's happening in Pisces, right? What's going on in Pisces is both Saturn and Neptune are in Pisces. Saturn is at 7 degrees Pisces, and as I just mentioned, it is going into retrograde on the 17th. This slows things down a bit, especially for those of you who are born, say, around the hold on a second. Maybe say around the 8th or no. If it's in the first decan of Pisces, so maybe around the 27th maybe of February, toward the end of February, if you guys were born, it's definitely going to impact you. You're going to feel a slowing down. You're going to feel almost a laziness and a lackadaisicalness, especially when it comes to any kind of authority or work, or just even a feeling of losing some momentum in your work. I don't think it won't last forever. The retrograde will end in the fall, but ultimately I think you're supposed to be slowing down now. But we'll talk about those specifics when we get into the decans. Saturn is in Pisces, and on the 17th it will go into retrograde. It's at 7 degrees Pisces. We have Neptune in Pisces as well at 27 degrees. That's still moving forward, going direct, and that is in conjunction with Pisces 3. So let's talk a little bit about what's going on with Neptune. Neptune this whole week is square to the Sun and says a square, not semi-square, says a square to Venus. There's some conflict there when it comes to the way that we've seen things, the way that we see ourselves, deceived ourselves, being really easily fooled or tricked. And this new moon could be meaning this new moon could leave you guys very vulnerable. Because it could mean that the information that comes in, you could be easily fooled or deceived by, because you want to believe it, because it's causing conflicts with something that is important to you and what you value. So that's very interesting, and I would beg you to sort of go over the facts and fact check a lot of what you hear between the 16th, 17th, and 18th of this week, since it will be so easily with that square to Neptune to kind of deceive you guys, especially Pisces 3s, those born at the end of Pisces season. The says a square between Neptune and Venus is all week too, which is sort of getting lost in your daydreams and seeing through rose-colored glasses. Now, it's very creative energy, and that's wonderful. And if you're letting the stories in your head inspire stories that you write, that's perfect. But if you're letting the stories in your head inspire decisions that you're actually taking seriously in real life, you kind of have to second guess yourself, and you have to get some pragmatism in there, or ask for a second opinion. That's really important this week. And then what we have Jupiter doing is a square to Venus. Yes, square to Venus still this week, which is tough energy because it's over-exaggerated and overindulgent. There's a lot of overindulgence going on in excessiveness. So excessive sensuality, excessive eating, excessive drinking, excessive shopping, all of those things can be in major excess this week with this energy. So that's another thing to be wary of. And then we have Jupiter sextile to Saturn, which is actually really wonderful. It means there could be major opportunities opening up, especially around career or growing up and maturing, developing into a more solid sense of self. But ultimately, I think it means having a solid mindset. So even though all these other squares are happening, I think you might have a huge opportunity to really see things for what they are and make different choices. We also have Jupiter still conjunct the North Node and opposite the South Node, which means Jupiter is kind of aligning with the future, looking toward the future. How do I want the future to look? Being very optimistic and trying to expand and grow the options. So that's also very fortunate as well. Just don't move faster than the reality in front of you. I mean, it's okay to invest in something and put faith in something, but don't disagree with the reality of what you see. Step by step, and stepping stones will take you where you want to go. Let's get into the decans, shall we? So we have Pisces, and decan 1, if your natal sun is between 0 and 9 degrees Pisces, you are a Pisces 1. That usually correlates to birthdays February Pisces. So anybody born between, say, the 19th, 20th of February through the end of February, maybe through the 30th of February, would be Pisces 1. Your natal suns are the ones sextile to Saturn. So you will definitely feel the impact of the retrograde the most. It may seem to you like laziness, but honestly, I just think it's more, I want to go slower. I need more time with this. And give yourself time with it. There's also a sextile to Jupiter for you guys, though. So that is an extremely benefic. Sun sextile Jupiter means luck, means opportunity, and means fortune. So that's its own blessing in disguise, and trust the slowing down of the universe because it's leading you to great opportunities or financial advancements because you have that Jupiter in Taurus as this happens. Okay, so I was going to say Neptune. Pisces 2. If your natal suns are between 10 and 19 degrees Pisces, you are a Pisces 2. This usually correlates to the first 10 days of March, say maybe in some cases the 30th of February through about the 10th of March would be Pisces 2. Your natal suns are going to be square to Mercury all week. So just be aware that it's like its own mini Mercury retrograde, just conflicts in speech, your brain getting twisted around itself, emails not going through, minor hiccups, just frustrating energy. This is not a good week for you to take an important test or give an important presentation or apply for an important position. This is not the week. If you could put it off, it's not a good week to sign anything important. Just put it off until it clears, and it will clear within the week. You also have a quincunx to Venus and a quincunx to Mars and a quincunx to the Venus conjunct Mars. So what does that mean? Frustration when it comes to your sexuality, sensuality, or sexual proclivities and relationships. Just real frustration. Now that frustration can spur you to doing something impulsive. You should really kind of watch that behavior. You can be a little bit more brash and irrational when this is going on. So just know this isn't with the square to Mercury, this is not a good week to make important permanent decisions about your life because there's too much convoluting how you feel about yourself and how you understand the world. So I would definitely wait till this energy passes for important decisions till next week. Pisces 3. So Pisces 3, Your natal sun, so your natal suns would be natal suns between 20 and 29 degrees Pisces. This usually correlates to those of you born Pisces, say March 11th through the 21st. Your natal suns are the ones conjunct to Neptune, so there's already a really psychic energy about you, a real kind of dreaminess about you, but a real commune and connection to the world at large through your psychic energies, abilities, and dreams. Could that be distracting? Yes, but it's also highly creative and highly intuitive. So as long as it's fine-tuned and you learn to trust through faith, because it's really a very faith-filled energy, this could be a wonderful time for you. There is a long-term sextile to Uranus, which means dynamic ingenuity. It also means opportunities that like are curveballs that maybe you didn't expect, or interests that you didn't expect. Trust them because they can open up opportunities for you. Technology, any kind of opportunities that can come through technology, social media, digital media, all of those things are definitely opportunities that could open up during a sextile to Uranus. And this is long term, so it's been going on for a while. So definitely use these outlets. And then you have a long-term sextile to Pluto, which means opportunities and change. It means major metamorphosis and transformation with the whole self, the complete self. And those changes will elevate you. You know, extreme things will happen that will kind of elevate you and help propel you forward. It also means that you'll have a formidable character about yourself, but people won't interpret it as like daunting or aggressive. It'll be more inspirational and authoritative, and people will take you more seriously. And that's over the next couple of years as well. So definitely enjoy that. This week, your natal suns are square to the sun, which means they're also square to that new moon. So for you guys in particular, this new moon could reveal a lot of deception, especially self-deception. So watch out when it comes to anything people try to sell you around that time, because it might be easier for you to believe than it should be. Just leave room for doubt and leave room for fact checking, especially you guys. But all week long, your natal suns are square to the sun, which means you're kind of compromised when it comes to your own sense of stubbornness and pride, but also insecurities. So there's definitely a sense of I might want to step back and wonder, why am I listening to this information? Why do I agree with it? Is it because it makes me feel good? It makes me think it's agreeing with me? Or is it because it actually makes sense? There's just a good reason to give that pause around that time. And it could mean that this new moon is a little bit more emotional for you too. That's just an FYI. New moon, you'll start to feel that between the 16th and the 18th. It's actually on the 17th. Let me know in the comments below how it's impacting you guys and how all this energy is making you feel. Definitely like this video and subscribe to Astrology Motivation so we can grow this channel in this space over here. And then come on over to Born Without Boundaries Tarot for your week ahead tarot card reading. I love you guys, and I'll talk to you next week. Bye, Pisces.